Ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get started here. Sorry that we are running a bit late. Want to welcome you to the Village of New Paltz Planning Board regular meeting Tuesday, June 6th, 2023. We have several things on our agenda tonight. We have an administrative business, some public comments. I don't think we have any public hearings going on. We do have application reviews, 5 of which we will be doing tonight. So with that in mind, let's get started here. Did everyone have the opportunity to look at the minutes from the meeting of 5/16/2023?
Yeah.
Any updates, any edits, anything that we need to correct?
No.
Okay. So with that in mind, like to get a motion to approve the minutes from 5/16/2023. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
So next, we want to do the updates from Village Board and Ulster County Planning Board. Is there anyone here, Will Murray, or anyone here to give us updates for the Village Board, Ulster County Planning Board? Okay, anyone here to give us updates from the Environmental Policy Board? No? Okay. So next, we're going to move to the public comments. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak to publicly about anything before the board in the audience? No? Is there anyone online that wishes to make any comments? Okay, seeing none, the public comments will not be had. We do not have any public hearings, so we're going to move immediately now to the application reviews. The first one tonight for the application reviews is PB 2204 184 Main Street. Applicant is Violet Jamal, zoning district B2. Please come up here and we'll get started on this. Application for special use permit and site plan review application. The applicant proposes new construction of a 3-story building in the B2 zoning district to include 3-floor hotel, 35-seat restaurant, roof deck seating, an outdoor cafe, and basement storage. This is a change to an earlier application. The applicant has submitted revised plans with a smaller restaurant and 2 additional hotel rooms. We do have some issues that will need to be clarified. And Andy, thank you for being here tonight. We need to get updated zoning code review, including consideration of 1 side yard setback requirement, the variance. Actually, you know what? Before that, we have some business before the board. So if you can just hold on for a moment here. It's come to our attention that the 0 to 15 maximum setback to the building, which was part of a code, has caused some problems with several applications. And with 2 of the applications, we have sent them for variance at the ZBA. And for a couple of the newer ones, we have a memo from Corey, our Chief Code Enforcement Officer, saying that our office has reviewed the site plans and supplemental documentation, and it goes on. It says, it talks about the 0 to 15 maximum setback to buildings. And then it says, based on the most recently submitted plans, there are no zoning comments. Essentially what they are doing is saying that it is up to the board, and it's at the board's discretion whether we should allow this or not. So what I'm suggesting, that for the sake of consistency, is that when we reach this point in some of the applications where we have to make a decision about the 0 to 15 maximum setback to buildings, that we continue to send them to the ZBA for a variance until the village board resolves the issues of Schedule A and Schedule B, which do not coincide with each other. And in short, there is not consistency in this between those 2 schedules. And until they get that done, I think that for the sake of our consistency, we cannot say we will allow this one, but we sent this other one for a variance, so that we should be sending all of them to the variance until the village board reaches a decision to correct and to make consistent the 0 to 15-foot maximum setback to buildings.
Are they scheduled to do that anytime soon?
Autumn,
So at the moment, the Schedule B table has been revised only. The village board is also looking at some components of the Schedule A. So now would be the time to try to address this problem further in the zoning code language. But
Okay.
I don't know how long exactly that process will take.
Can we make a recommendation to them about that particular issue?
no, we have not made a recommendation to them.
Okay.
No, because they wrote the law, they need to figure it out, and I think they know exactly what they want to do. It's just a matter that they have not done it. You were going to make a comment, I believe?
I was just going to clarify, I think that what they're in the process of changing is to make the text and the table match. But I think what we're asking for is for them also to consider changing the 0 to 15-foot maximum.
I think it should be changed.
Yeah,
Just, if you want to have space between buildings, let's say you want to grow a tree, or just even have a little, there are so many reasons why you might want to have that space.
Just as importantly is the consideration that if fire equipment needed to get around the building, having it between 0 and 15 feet does not allow for the fire equipment to go in between there. It also is not as wide as has the entrance and exits to some of the buildings, specifically as you go out on 32 North, and you'll see those two projects where they will have entrance and exits. And if we had to mandate that they were between 0 and 15 feet, then that would really create a problem for traffic ingress and egress, as well as for the fire department. Zach, you have something on your mind?
Yeah, I think we all agree that, all the applicants shouldn't be bound by this weird little inconsistency. I'm just wondering if sending everyone from here on out to the ZBA to get a variance is going to be more onerous than it needs to be, especially for like a small project. But I guess this only really applies to the specific zone, right?
it's for B2 and NBR.
So,
And NBR, okay.
Where everyone wants to develop now, though.
right.
Yeah,
But I think that if we said to this applicant, no, you don't need to do that, while the other applicant is at the ZBA, that would be showing some level of favoritism from one applicant to the other. We want to be
Can we just
consistent.
change it? Say, oh, we were wrong. Now moving forward, we're gonna not do that.
Unfortunately, we can't. That's the village board.
isn't Corey essentially saying it's at our discretion and we can make that decision? So I guess I'm with Rachel here and saying, if we decide to be consistent going forward and say, okay, we're not, this is our interpretation of it. We
Okay,
wouldn't necessarily need to send everyone to the ZBA.
that's fair. We do have 2 applications now, is that correct? That are before the ZBA trying to get that. Should we then bring them back and say, no, we created we have a different interpretation of it now?
I'm not sure that the
I don't think
building
you do that.
inspector letter on the other projects says the same thing.
No.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So it kind of puts us in a position that is difficult. Rich, you had something to say there?
Yeah, I think I have a couple of things. One is I don't know which projects we're referring to and how recent those were that are in front of the ZBA for the same issue.
137 North Chestnut. No,
45
North Chestnut, next meeting.
Yeah.
Even after we had that discussion about fire access and emergency vehicle access, we made a determination that it was required to go for a variance for that.
Yes, because we had not received anything from Corey by that time.
Right. So this is the first time we're being informed that this is actually an issue under our discretion. But it was under our discretion when we referred those other 2. We just weren't told correctly that it was under our discretion.
I don't think it was really under our discretion. I think that it was something that was the requirement. And so in order to get something besides what was required, they had to go to get a variance as they would for any sort of requirement. And now we have the latitude.
But it's not, there's not a new law or any new
No.
code that says we have the latitude. We had the latitude on the prior two decisions, but just weren't aware that we had the latitude.
Those two were in NBR and this one's in B2, so
don't
maybe
think
there was some difference. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we were trying to get advice, but there was a discrepancy, so even the people giving us advice didn't really know what to tell us.
Yeah, no,
So,
and I wasn't, I knew that we had that conversation about those two issues, but I'm sorry if I didn't recall them being sent to ZBA already for those two. I thought the conversation was ongoing, but I still stand behind the idea that unless the code says, well, in the MBR, you don't have discretion, but in the B2, you have discretion, then we have discretion over those other two potential mistakes we made around not considering something that isn't even buildable if it's not, if it's required to have that maximum width. I'm not suggesting all three of these examples are the same,
Right.
but I am feeling less compelled by that consistency argument because actually what's inconsistent here is the advice we've gotten from our building inspector, not our behavior.
Yes, please.
So both in the NBR and the B2, this is what it says. Side yard, all uses 0 to 15 feet maximum at the discretion of the planning board, with the presumption being that the intent of the district is to minimize setbacks. Notwithstanding the foregoing, where adjacent properties are concurrently proposed to be developed at 0 side lot lines will be conjoined, no side setback is required. So,
We do have the discretion then.
Well, also
but this
to
is the same
clarify-
language in both sections.
Yeah,
Just put-
Corey's memo for 145 North Chestnut says they need a variance. It doesn't say the same thing as this. So if
Right.
I think we're kind of bound to follow his memos, and here he's saying that you do have discretion.
Okay, so moving forward, we have discretion. For those that are before the ZBA, we did not have discretion, so they have to go through the ZBA process.
Would be my interpretation.
Okay, does that sound fair? Okay,
I don't know about fair, but it sounds like we're taking Corey's, what Corey might have left out of his memo and, or in other words, the code is the code. Corey is the interpreter of the code on the town, the village and our behalf. That he didn't indicate that we have discretion and we didn't know that because we didn't read the code. Doesn't mean that we didn't have discretion on those two. And it definitely doesn't mean that we don't have discretion on this one. So I don't necessarily agree with the fact that we didn't have it on the one that Corey wrote the memo about. He referred it to the ZBA without us having any opportunity to consider it thoughtfully. And I think we had a thoughtful conversation about it here. And I'm sorry, this isn't about your application, this is about the others, but we had a thoughtful conversation about it here. We were like, oh, that's stupid. That doesn't make any sense and that's impossible to build. And we sent it along because that's what the memo read. And so I think that's a poor, that's a poor one for us to, that's a poor example for us to continue to follow in the case that we're sitting with today. That's my perspective.
okay, so we will then be able, going forward, to have discretion based upon what Corey has written in these two for these specific applications. So each application will have to be sent for a zoning code review. And we will have to, if they encounter the 0 to 15, we'll have to hope that he will tell us that that's up to the discretion of the planning board.
But the code says we have discretion.
Well, it can be read either way. It says 0 to 15 feet at the discretion. I mean, it could be read that the discretion is
It's between 0
that
and 15.
range. That's how I read it initially. So now he's reading it a different way.
So we'll need for him in the zoning code review to tell us which way he is interpreting it. So that said, I think that we have discretion specifically for B2 at this point, so we can do that moving forward rather than just referring them all to the ZBA. We all agreed on that?
Um,
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
Does the person who's coming before us, that we're deciding whether they can, do they have the right to ask to go to the ZBA?
For that, yes, I don't know why they would,
for
because
that
it would,
issue?
I don't, they
So if
do,
they felt that we were interpreting it too strictly or too narrowly or too whatever, could they plead their case to the ZBA?
yes, but I think what we're trying to do here is broaden our interpretation of it so that we
Right,
can
I-
allow them to build greater than 15 feet.
Right, and I understand that part, and I don't have a problem with that. I just am thinking back to when I was on the ZBA, that there were questions that came up that the ZBA, having dealt, might have had, maybe already dealt with that kind of issue, was in then a good position to be able to say no because, or yes because.
Right. Well, yeah, and I guess it's possible that the ZBA could look at it and say, you know, we agree with this interpretation, they can go greater than 15, 0 to 15. Or they may just punt it and say that it needs to go back to the planning board, and we would then say, you know,
Just a thought.
yeah. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do then, moving forward. And we'll allow those two that are at the ZBA to be at the ZBA. New items then will no longer be sent there. Okay? All right, so welcome, guys. How are you doing? Good. Great. So as we said earlier, this is the hotel. There are some things that have changed. And we do have some issues here that need to be clarified. So let's take some notes here, and Autumn will get these to you as well. We need an updated CCR zoning code review, including consideration of the side yard setback. Although we have now declared that we can make the decision on the 15-foot maximum. We need verification of adequate parking from our traffic consultant. And we did not get that from them, did we?
Mhm.
Is it- was it-
And we have Brian Hager.
Yeah, Charlie does. Okay, so let's take a look here.
About that.
Okay, and looking at this in item 1, it comes down here and it says details that there's a 3-foot setback on one side, 57.8 on the other side. And said it is determined that the planning board has discretion to allow a setback to be larger than what is required, with the presumption that being the intent of the district is to minimize setbacks. I should review the non-compliant setback and determine if the larger setback can be allowed for a reason or cause. In this case, the driveway and parking area are what occupy the side that required a larger setback. So how do we do that then? Do we just pass a motion to grant them the 57.8 feet setback?
If that's what you want.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we
That's what-
discussed whether we had the discretion to do it, but I didn't necessarily,
Yeah.
I don't think we necessarily discussed that.
No, not yet. Then the 24 parking spaces as well. So let's start then with the setback. Any discussion on that setback, given the plans and what it appears?
I think it's appropriate for the site. I'm not sure how cars would enter and exit without having that significant side yard setback.
What is the width requirement for two-way traffic in and out of parking like that?
26,
26 is the minimum.
if you have parking inside. In previous meetings, which again, I'm in our submission, from early 2022, when the zoning was the same, this issue was not raised at that time. But streetscape concerns were, and we had addressed that with additional sort of attractive fencing and landscaping, sort of to shield the parking. And had, noted that the drive lane was less than a quarter of the total frontage. I mean, certainly we could speak about the difficulty of this zoning conundrum, but in this location related to the awareness shop and the sort of series of houses that are as of yet not buildings with zero setback, sort of keeping ourselves at some distance from the awareness shop makes sense in a lot of ways.
It does.
I mean, and which we've expressed that, just as far as the issue of streetscape earlier in our submittal in discussions. And that's part of the submission. I mean, fundamentally, a sort of a one-way entry and exit, which is what the zoning would require, just seems sort of perplexing. And I don't imagine that was the intention. So, but it would be, it would be the result in any project, other than sort of just adding this layer of sort of going to the ZBA and making them make the determination, which I don't like the feel of that. That's sort of creating an odd scenario as well.
Okay.
We believe the site plan is a good site plan. We've been discussing the site plan for some time, and we've taken efforts to address the streetscape, which presumably is the whole intention of all.
So just out of curiosity, how wide is the exit that you have on the side of the building?
The 26.
Okay, but on the other side, you have the exit, is that correct? Or is that
No.
eliminated? Okay.
No, we've-
So the building is to the lot line. Got it.
It's 3 foot off of the lot line to the
Okay.
convenient deli side.
All right, so, any other comments on the size of the entrance there? 57.8? No? No. Okay, so, then I guess what we need to do is to get a motion to accept the 57.8 foot distance, as opposed to the 15 foot maximum setback.
So motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Okay, so we've covered that. Applicant proposed 24 spaces. And let me get back to mine.
So, can we start on that, John?
Sure.
So I want to make sure I understand it correctly, because I'm cross-referencing the current plan and the parking allotted there, which says 25 on the plan, I think.
It's 24 currently. Initially we had 25 and we had we were seeking a variance for the
6 inches, right?
well, it was the 10-foot setback at the rear. And so when we removed ourselves from the ZBA process, updated the site plan, we lost 1 parking space.
So I'm looking at the prior one, but I got it. And then the requirement for the hotel, the minimum requirement for the hotel is 17. Is that what the calculation is telling us?
just
That's
as an
also
additional-
something that's under.
I mean, Corey's memo also, though, I mean, in the item 2 was just all of the parking, because our considerations and not requirements is our understanding.
Yeah, sure.
We are allotting, we have 14 rooms. I think we have 17 spots that would be allotted specifically for the hotel.
Yeah.
Some spots for the restaurant, and also for zoning, sort of the count is allowed to include on-street parking. But this memo in the zoning code is also indicating none of this is a requirement, it's a consideration. And so, reducing the size of everything, sort of easing the burden on the street. We have enough parking for all of the hotel guests and a, accessible spot.
Yeah, one might say we could do with less parking, which might make it a more attractive property and less impervious surface and pavement and things like that. So I'm just trying to make sure I'm understanding the
I guess.
scope of consideration, but I'm not saying that, I'm just saying that's that's the reverse argument.
We could reduce the parking and increase the footprint of the building.
Well, I guess though, I mean, again,
Increase it by 53 feet.
to the memo, is there a number of parking spaces, I guess, that the planning board would request or require? I mean, I guess if it comes to you guys to make the determination, I think that, what is the determination?
Looking at the memo from our consultant, it says based on the information contained in the site plan, a hotel would require 17, restaurant would require a total of 25 parking spaces. Proposed site plan provides a total of 24 spaces. Zoning requires parking for the hotel, 1 space for business, 1 space for employee. 14 beds based on floor plans, 22 beds in hotel. Applicant to clarify this discrepancy. Do you have a copy of this from him?
We have it right here. We just received it.
Just received it. All right, well, we'll kind of work our way through here.
I didn't put, what was,
I'm not
what
fully
is the
understanding that request that he's asking to clarify though, because we're showing on the site plan that it is a 14-room hotel. But he's saying you could potentially have 22 beds. Is the parking based on per bed per room, or is it based on per hotel?
Proposed zoning requirement hotel, 1 space per bed plus 1 space per employee.
well, the zoning, what is the, so the zoning has, well, I guess 1 space per bed, but I mean, it's 14 beds,
Right,
3 spaces for employees.
that's 17 comes from.
Yes.
Yes, so I'm not sure, so this, the discrepancy, I guess.
Says if the 17 parking space calculation is correct, which we just verified, then consideration should be given to allow the 7 surplus parking spaces to be dedicated to restaurant staff in order to limit long-term parking.
That's the kind of next question, I think, is, was there a proposed specific requirement of the, or specific usage of the additional 7 spots? Or were they expected to just be used for first come, first serve for any purpose?
There's no specific purpose beyond first come, first serve, I guess, for restaurant people.
No, certain amounts are supposed to be dedicated to restaurant staff. Or he says consideration should be given. How would you do that? Would you have to put signs that said employees only?
Yeah, if you were gonna set aside the 7 spots for staff of the restaurant,
Can you think of any place that has 25 spots, that has 7 spots dedicated for staff? That doesn't seem to. I, as a staff of a restaurant or any job, have never been afforded that luxury.
I think they usually make them not park in the
Yeah.
parking lot.
Yeah,
Yeah. Go park anywhere else and move every hour or something.
well, it just says, it says consideration should be given, so. It's a talking point for us, okay. So,
Consider a spot or 2.
well, essentially what we're finding here is, the site plan provides 24 parking spaces, which should adequately accommodate the hotel parking demand. So, in the final analysis, our consultant believes that the parking will satisfy the demand.
yeah, and the extra spots are theoretically reducing the demand on the street parking.
An off-street park.
Which is,
Right.
is by the calculations generous.
Honestly, that's why we went to the zoning board for that.
To get that
variance,
one
to
extra
get that one
space.
space.
Okay. So it looks like you are clear on that issue as well, okay?
There's a couple other things around traffic that I'm hoping we could check in on, John.
Sure.
So one is just a technicality. I know that we had that conversation about the inactive curb cut and what the county, the referral to the county that would be required for that.
It's a
DOT.
DOT permit, and it's required in any case because they're doing work in the right of way.
So that inactive curb cut is referred to in the memo from our traffic consultants. That's going to be eliminated like was in the original plan.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And we started the process with the DOT,
Yes.
and they already started working on permitting.
One more thing I was thinking, I think the biggest question I have around traffic impact is the question around left turns out of, in terms of egress from the building and in terms of the allowability of entry to the building with left turns. There's a lot of examples of it, but maybe those of you that like go to Walgreens or eat at IFO and all the other examples of that. Up there at Mill Rock, right next to the Mannheim light and the egress from the store and Mill Rock's a busy street. That's a pretty tough place to allow left turns. And I don't know the traffic science behind which one is worse or whether they're equally bad, like leaving it with a left turn and whether that's, something that we'd want to eliminate, which is probably easier to eliminate than eliminating people from turning in. I mean, who am I talking to? You're there, So I don't know if anyone on the board has a thought about that.
Just so you know, that will be a process with DOT. So we need to submit the plans, the traffic study, all the information on seeker, and that'll be a discussion with them. And I'm sure they're gonna decide what happens as far as left turns there.
Yeah, they gotta make the
The
judgment on
DOTs,
that.
Yeah. I know they look at certain volumes and speed limit and all kinds of stuff.
So I think it might be worthwhile if anyone here has a, strong feeling about that we could have on record that around our planning board discussion around it. Whether I know the DOT has the discretion to make that decision, but I think we could weigh in on it because it has an impact on the community.
Is it something that's gonna be addressed for all these pre-existing businesses that also allow that left turn? Convenient Deli, IFO as your example, the awareness shop, main course, Mill Rock Road.
Because they're not before the planning board with a new application.
Yeah. So it'd just be something addressed specifically for this site?
Not specifically for this site, but for an applicant who's coming before this planning board seeking an approval where we have an opportunity to try to eliminate something that might be considered unsafe or something that tends to stop traffic in ways that we have the opportunity to avoid.
may I ask before discussion, pardon me, but there's no scenario, if the DOT says, yes, this should not have a left turn exit. It's not the planning board then wouldn't be in a position to overrule that.
Right.
Okay, so it's really a matter of if the DOT says it's acceptable, you guys could have a scenario saying, we don't think it's acceptable. So it's really, right, is that that's really the only thing that you guys would you might negate them, but you're not in the negative, but not the positive.
Well, so in essence, we just have to wait until the DOT tells us.
I guess that's what I'm saying to some extent.
Yeah,
If
but
they
if they
say,
say,
if
yes,
they-
you could have it, do you still have the right as the planning board to say, no, we don't want it?
I'd say yes, we do.
but at least at that point, it would be based on, you would be addressing the DOT's justification in one way or the other.
Correct.
As opposed to speculating
Correct.
without that information.
Correct. So we're gonna have to wait until we get the DOT report back to see what they say. And if they don't mention it, then we have the right to say, we don't want to see left-hand turns out of the parking lot. However, if they do mention it, then it's done. Okay,
Was that not brought up in the traffic study from the traffic engineer at all?
It actually
Not
was.
really. Well, I mean, not really, I mean.
What do you say here?
It is,
I thought it says that they would remain as is circulation.
it says based on the results of the analysis, based on the results of the analysis, a determination should be made on whether any left turn restrictions entering or exiting should be implemented at the site driveway. And I had that,
Where is this?
I had that, the bottom of page 2. And I had that hunch, and then when I read it here, I was emboldened to bring it up. Because I think it's consideration.
Yeah.
But if the DO, but so I mean, if the DOT is gonna weigh in on this as well, so it seems,
Yeah.
is that?
Yeah, I don't know how closely they pay attention to the details of the circumstance of an intersection like that. I don't know.
They do, they definitely, they made me put it, do no left turn many times, and we didn't want to, so it's usually more of a safety issue though, where.
Yeah.
Where here, people aren't generally going anywhere right there, but sitting at the light, but I don't know what they're gonna say, but they definitely do. You know, if it's a safety issue, they do pay attention, for sure.
All right, so we're gonna wait,
Thanks.
the DOT. All right, so the next one is, we need to begin looking at the EAF Part 1 from the applicant, so we're gonna need to go over that. Ready to do that tonight? No, I think that we answered pretty much all the questions. It was, once we dug into it, it was plain, but thank you for being here in case we had questions.
Yep, no problem.
Do you want to weigh in on anything regarding the analysis, the turns, things of that nature?
I think you guys pretty much covered it. I'm just speaking here on behalf of Carlito Holt, but I think we were just concerned with those left turns just due to how close it is to the nearby intersection. Because queuing, people waiting at the light. So that's just why we brought it up there. And then we recommended an analysis there. Just if people are waiting to turn left and they're having trouble making the left, they could queue up into the restaurant, hotel.
Okay. Very good. Then we will wait to see what DOT has to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so looking at the EAF Part 1 here, completed by the applicant or the project sponsor. And what we need to do then is we need to go through and look at their answers and compare them to what we believe should be there. So we can get started on this real quickly. The first, the A, the B, and the C are really just kind of filling out the form. What do you-
On B, I think we're missing something.
Okay, what are we missing on B?
Well, definitely the DOT approval. We need to identify all agencies that have any approval authority over this, and DOT needs to be listed. I'm new to this village, but does your DPW need to look at the sewer connection?
Yes.
So we need to put that. The engineer know of any other approvals that should be listed?
I know they usually don't list that one because it's just like a connection or water and
Because it's
sewer.
discretionary.
Yeah, they usually
Yeah,
don't list
that's
it, but I
fine.
mean, you can. Other permits, no, there's no stormwater permit.
Yeah, there's no septic or anything
No.
else. Yeah,
No, I think.
so
we're
I think
good.
it's just DOT that's missing. Because we want to make sure we circulate to the right agencies.
Okay. All right, C. Looks like that is fairly clear on that. I suppose. This is community services, what school district, today's public. Proposed potential development. 1.4 acres, so it goes through that. Not constructed multiple phases. (43) height, 42 feet 8 inches width, 90-foot length, 11,607 square feet. Is that all consistent with what they have on their?
That may not have been updated when we.
Can we get that updated, please?
Sorry, what page are you on?
I'm on page 4.
Oh.
C, G.
I did it.
Dated 2022. Has this been updated
The major change was the change to the room. So there was the gallons of sewer and water were
Yeah.
updated, were reduced.
Is that reflected in this? form
That is
we have?
reflected in what I submitted to Autumn a week or two ago.
But you didn't change the date?
I guess I did not.
That's fine, I'm just
Yeah.
making sure we're looking
I
at
don't,
the
I
right.
guess I don't
document.
know.
Is the date you were talking about the signature date?
Yeah,
And then item G, dimensions, square footage as well.
What do I have there?
You have 11,607 square feet.
I guess including the basement is larger than that. It was,
Okay.
so I can
So we'll
update that.
update that, please. Operations. No excavation.
So the foundation won't require,
I don't recall it saying no excavation. I mean, there's a basement. There is excavation.
okay, well,
Yeah, because
the
on
box is checked, no.
on item A.
Okay, well, that's an error, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, other than the room changes and.
I don't either.
D2A. Excavation.
I mean, is this the process? I mean.
Yeah.
You gotta go through it.
No, I understand.
Yeah, we're already catching things, so we gotta wade through it.
Need to make sure there's nothing else in it.
Okay.
Question around excavation on the EAF. It says not including general site preparation, grading, or installation of utilities or foundations where all excavated material will remain on site. So will there be
Yeah,
excavated material removed from
Most
site?
recent one. I would imagine so.
Okay.
That should be yes.
The pre-existing building.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I mean, we have.
Yeah, here you
additional
go.
copies.
Take that. I mean, there should be another one of these, like,
Material proposed to be removed from the site. Need that completed as well, volume.
We're dealing with D2.
We're at D2.
Fill out D2, basically.
And we went through, yeah, we gotta go through all of D2 again and update that if you guys. would.
Okay, we'll update D2.
Okay. All right, be the exercise encouragement. Existing. Proposed action, create a new demand for water. Yes, total anticipated usage demand per day, 3,220 gallons per day. Is that still correct?
Yes, we updated that,
Okay,
right? That's the number I gave you. Yep.
okay. We're at C on page 5 of 13. Has capacity serve the proposal? Hmm,
Has this been looked at by DPW? Around capacity for water and
Yeah.
sewage? The immediate local capacity for water and sewage?
We haven't brought it directly to the DPW.
Make sure that Blue looks at that because of the
Okay.
current state of water supply and sewage.
yeah, why don't we add them to the agencies?
Yeah.
To make sure they're in blue. farm.
Capacity and, yeah, okay.
Waste. Yeah. Okay, so let me stuff be reviewed by DPW.
So we send that to Blue.
Yep.
And then does Lou also review the SWWP, this stormwater?
Yeah, he will definitely look at that.
Well, there's no actual,
Serving an acre
Or more,
he
yeah.
can review the drainage.
Yeah.
Right, there's no stormwater part because it's not a big enough site.
Okay.
We'll just send them the full plans. Review 'em.
Will proposed action result in substantial increase in traffic above present levels? You say no. I would hope that it would. Otherwise, you're probably not going to be in business.
I think that if you
Where
look,
are we?
if you look through the EAF workbook on that, if you're not increasing more than 100 trips per hour at any peak hour.
Okay, so
check
greater
it
than
out.
100,
And I don't
100 trips.
believe we are.
Yeah,
Per hour,
according
okay.
to DTS Provident, I think it said the maximum trip generation per hour was like 42 or something.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
So I think we're okay on that. No.
For a new upgrade to an existing substation. And electricity demand. Eight.
Oh, interesting, I'm sorry to go back to E, but you checked no on E, but then you did answer 4 at the bottom of E as yes.
Which page are you
6 to D2E on page 6.
Yeah, so that shouldn't have been.
So that either has to not be checked, or actually, unfortunately, if you asked me, I would say no, but since no was checked at the top, I would call that
So
I
for.
would leave that blank.
Yeah.
Because it's not 1 acre. But it doesn't necessarily, as a plan, minimize impervious surface. Use pervious materials,
Well, that's, yeah,
but it doesn't have to because it's less than 1 acre.
it doesn't have to, and it was just based on the current site plan has more impervious area.
Thanks.
Okay, 4, that's fine, 6. 1.7. Eight. Outdoor lighting, 15-foot LED light poles.
In terms of hours of operation, does a hotel, well, it says the restaurant's hours of operation, but I would assume a hotel is considered to be operating wider hours than noon to 10.
Yeah, I guess a hotel operates 24 hours a day in the sense that someone's paying.
You might want to make 2 columns there and put hotel operating hours and restaurant operating hours. I'm on page 7 at the bottom.
Yep.
So looking at page 8. It looks solid waste be generated during construction or operation of the facility. So you don't really have anything in terms of solid waste during the operation.
I'm sorry, say that again.
On page 8, are solid waste to be generated during construction or operation?
Yeah, we should put an estimate on solid waste during operation per week. It's RI, just an estimate on how big the dumpster is.
And what about for O, the potential to produce odors? I mean, I would think that the restaurant would be producing some smells for more than 1 hour a day.
Mostly good smells, I would think.
Okay, that's not what they're talking about.
The exhaust fan had
That's
the,
what I was thinking.
yeah,
I'm just,
I'm not,
Yeah.
I don't, well, we don't, we can speculate, I guess, towards the parking lot of the convenient deli. That's the kitchen is on
Oh, that's
the.
fine.
I mean, we could look through the EAF workbook and it usually describe the
Yeah.
types of odors that they're talking about, and
Right.
it's usually
Okay.
objectionable kind of.
I see.
Proposal, disposal, on-site dumpster during, construction. On-site dumpster with scheduled pickup during operations.
The top of page 10, there are other childcare facilities within 1,500 feet, the daycare center at the church, maybe even both church ones. I see the middle school is named, and that's helpful.
And which one is this? Page?
On the top of page 10, the D, are there any facilities serving children, the elderly, people with disabilities? School?
Okay.
Just
Update
add
that.
those as neighboring facilities.
Yeah, and there's a pre-K down there. Anything on 9? Did anyone say anything on 9?
No.
Existing land uses, commercial, residential. Both buildings with a payment, okay. All right, so takes care of 10. Page 11. Average depth of bedrock 6 feet.
Last thing, right?
Mhm.
All right, page 12, designated significant natural community. Plan listed by federal government, no.
Does the fact that it sits within 5 miles of a designated federal, state, or local scenic or aesthetic resource make them an agency we have to inform? What about Minnewaska? It's further than 5 miles, so that's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just for your information, in case there was some reason there would be an impact.
Yep.
We want to preserve nature or basis for designating state park. Okay. That, anything else that we need to add, do you think, to this? It's as though we have covered most of it, coastal. Anything else that we think we need to add? Okay, so the notes that I have, and I'm sure Andy, you've taken a note, DOT review, add the DOT and DPW, as interested agencies, DPW and sewer connection, need to update C, D2A excavation, yes, water supply, sewage, and then R.1 solid waste. What else you got there?
We'd uncheck the one on stormwater,
Right.
2 columns and the hours of operation,
Updated.
child care facilities. Put a new date on the end, so we see it's an updated, yeah.
That's in square footage. Square footage, yeah. Residential construction, the square footage, project operation, no excavation or mining. Review of the DPW. Column. Proposed action. Solid waste to be generated. Got that, okay.
Yep, send to DPW.
All right. French child kinder. Yeah, I think that's everything for that. Okay. All right, so get that back to us for our next meeting and we can go through that.
I wrote updated CTR review, but is that now resolved or do we need to, are we good on the code enforcement review?
I think we are,
Okay,
yeah. We need to review the SUP requirements for the hotels, 21241, and B2 requirements for hotel with second use.
Say that again, or is that,
Can you find there, we need to review the SUP requirements for hotels, which is 21241. And the B2 requirements for hotel with the second use.
Yeah, there were some specific requirements in there that I don't know, I have to pull that back.
All right, you would do that for us.
Yep.
What are they, what are we looking?
what are we are looking, what are we looking?
special use permit
Yeah.
requirements for a hotel.
I thought the special use permit requirement is eliminated when they updated the code for the B2, so. And hotels permitted use, we eliminated that problem in the first notes, one of the first meetings we had.
Is the zoning change?
Because the updated zoning allows for hotels. So it's not a special use permit. So we already had that discussion back in 2022, in the first meeting.
Okay.
I'll check that. Okay.
Yeah, they changed it so that it was an issue that it wasn't permitted before, and now it's, I think
Special
it's
use.
still special.
Yeah.
Is that what it said?
So special use permit.
Which is something that this board didn't use. They can issue a special. use.
Oh,
Oh,
I thought it was just.
okay, I was confused. All right.
Yeah, it's not a ZBA.
Check the 12-40.
It's not a prohibited use.
Right, it just has additional requirements.
So, the requirements provide resident manager, provide security desk clerk, daily maid services and housekeeping services. Are these things that you've addressed in the narrative?
I don't think we've had an explicit narrative on the operations of the hotel.
Yeah, so we need to make sure those things are met. Maximum number of guest rooms. So it's 212-41I. Maybe you can tell us how you meet those. And then let me see, what was the other one I stated? 212-13
Yeah, yeah.
F2.
Second use of the restaurant.
Yeah, there's a special thing for hotels with a second use.
What is the second use?
Restaurant.
I thought you said second use, but okay, yeah.
Okay, for the construction of hotels that are at least 2 stories. This is 212-13 F2B3. Hotel buildings may be single-use hotels, or they may have more than one primary use if at least one of the uses is a hotel and the other is a principally permitted use by right or specially permitted use. Okay, so I think the building inspector already determined that was satisfied, so we're
Okay.
good on that.
So really all we need then is a narrative on the operations, max number of guests and the second use, correct?
Just on the hotel special use permit criteria, yes.
Okay. All right, so if you guys can get that to us, that will get that completed as well.
So that's 21241I.
And what is that? What is this stating? how our operations will be
It's
handled?
a narrative on the operations of the hotel, maximum number of guests, second use, in the restaurant.
What's the second use of the restaurant? I'm sorry, I thought that
Hotel?
you just got.
Okay.
Just on the hotel.
So how do we manage, how do we maintain, how, it's just so.
Just a narrative, but-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's specific criteria in the code that says all you need to.
Okay.
Okay. All right, one of the things that we're looking at was, a referral to the Historic Preservation Committee, which would come after the completion of the, EAF. But have you folks made any significant changes that, would require you to go back before the HPC?
No, we haven't made any changes. I guess we met with them in 22, right?
There's been no design changes.
Yeah.
Okay. So with this, I guess now that we can refer this to the Ulster County Planning Board.
We need to have the complete seeker
Okay.
statement before we
Okay.
do that. Yeah.
All right. So we'll be waiting for the complete seeker statement and get that information back from you, and then we can do the next couple of steps would be to refer the Ulster County Planning Board. Classify as to be unlisted, declare intent to be lead agency at that point. Go through the seeker and set a public hearing and get you on your way.
Now, or is the public hearing, which I guess from our last meeting, we were sort of then hopeful that we could set tonight. Is all of that contingent upon sort of the minor revisions of the EAF and I mean, a narrative of the operations?
It's not absolutely required. It's I guess we could set the public hearing. Thoughts on that? Any guidance?
I think that you could declare your intent to be lead agency, and then once we get the new EAF, we can circulate it. I think that is okay to do now.
Okay.
The public hearing, it's really up to you. I'm
Yeah.
comfortable
Okay, so first thing we're gonna do then is we're gonna classify the seeker to be an unlisted. So I need a motion to classify the seeker for this application to be an unlisted. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
I'd also like a motion to declare ourselves the intention to be lead agency. Second, aye. All in favor? Aye, sorry. NISDOT, Department of Transportation, town, DPW should be included in the circulation. So we got that done. And then, so I guess we can set a date for public hearing. What's the next available public hearing, Autumn?
Next meeting is June 20th, but that's not a great deal of time to turn around all the information we need to do this. Would you agree? Because
Yep.
normally we wait 2 meetings, but the July 5th meeting is both a Wednesday, not a Tuesday, and also most likely the night we need to review the next part of the DEIS. So can we open a public hearing on that night and then move over to that, or do you want to schedule it for the second meeting in July?
I mean, if we schedule it, we have to hold it open.
Yeah.
There's no difference between that and actually doing it.
I think we should open it in fifth. I don't see why we can't.
Yeah,
Public
no reason
hearing,
why not.
We have the other work, we're gonna have other.
So I'd like to make a motion to schedule a public hearing for this application to be on July 5th. Second, all in favor? Aye. All right, so you will have a July 5th public hearing, and if we are not able to complete everything, then we'll hold it open for the following week. Following meeting, okay?
Good.
All right,
Take
that's it.
care of all this stuff.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Alright.
Okay, the next one is PB 2311, 43 Center Street, applicant Lee Frizell. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there. Step on up. So what is new? This is an application to demolish the existing family residence and build a new single-family residence on the 0.3 acre property in the R2 zoning district. Anything new? New?
Not from our end, no.
Okay.
No, we did talk to Corey and he said he was gonna be issuing a memo, which we just received. So I don't know what this entails.
43 Center Street, right here. Yeah, we just got it today too. Proposed kitchen first floor and second floor. Second kitchen should be removed to comply with zoning or redesign the project to provide for 2 separate dwelling units.
We discussed that. And he's willing to remove the second kitchen as far as, right?
I'm sorry?
He is gonna remove the second kitchen because.
Okay.
I request this in
did
the
mention
floor, I request this, I said this, my son is live the second floor, so
Mhm.
sometime need, we need the help, this second
Right.
kitchen, every
Right.
time is coming, first floor is need sometime is hot water, sometimes little bit, so my 2 son is live the second floor.
Right.
So I request the police, I need this kitchen, that's it, we're not two family or anything,
We understand.
So he said this now only for this fire safety. I don't know. I live the second, one not man. This my
Right.
first floor is restaurant. This one kitchen, second
Yes.
floor I live. One
Yes.
kitchen, the 2 kitchen. Nothing is happening. Anything.
That's true. It's a
He
different.
said this. No, we don't accept. I say please.
Yeah, well, it's a different zone as well, and I'm sure that and I know, having seen your kitchen, that the kitchen complies with all of the things that are necessary for a commercial kitchen. So this deals with a residential kitchen, so we've got that's going to be removed. Let's see what else we got here.
It's a fire problems. I don't know exactly.
All rooms, and then you must have internal structural connections such as internal doorways. Considerable fire hazard concern with having 2 kitchens, so we just address that. Mitigated about removal. Maybe further implications with this design when a building code review is performed as at the discretion of the discretion of fire safety lines with the fire code official. Garage on the property would be a structure existing legally on the property as pre-existing and non-conforming as long as there were no changes to the structure or its current approved use.
We're not proposing any changes to that at all.
So that takes care of that.
It's currently painted to match the house. Are you planning to?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of finishes, yes. I mean, we're not gonna structurally modify it though, but yeah, we would.
But I mean, are you gonna make the house match? Right now, it's kind of cute because they both have like matching little.
We hadn't honestly talked about specific colors or anything like that, but certainly we're open to that, sure, yeah.
Okay, so we got the zoning code review, including the garage issue. I think he needs to do the building code review with the fire safety lines, once that gets going. So really, we can now refer this to the Ulster County Planning Board because it is within 500 feet of Route 32, and then we can set a public hearing. So, need a motion to refer this to the Ulster County Planning Board. No motion. Second, all in favor? Aye. So it has now been referred to the Ulster County Planning Board, and then a motion to set a public hearing. Again, we'll set this for July 5th with the possibility we may need to hold it open given all the activity that goes on that night. So I need a motion then to set the public hearing for July 5th.
So motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
We have to classify this.
Okay.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. So we're gonna go for a seeker type 2 action, is that right? Okay, so I need a motion to classify this application under seeker as a type 2. Second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so that's kind of where we are for tonight. You moved on, getting things pushed through.
Great.
I'll reach out to Autumn as far as the public hearing and notifying people if you've been to that drill before, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so we are now at the PB 2313 for Oakwood Court, application Noah Simons. And application for a plan amendment for a single family home in R2 district. Applicant received approval for addition and porch deck extension 2019, but was unable to build and now seek to instead install a screened in porch deck, omit the addition and widen the driveway. Okay. We do have a couple of notes here in terms of the issues. It says the driveway does not appear to conform to maximum width of 18 feet. Driveway is double width, and so you would have to bring it back into compliance or go to the ZBA, get a variance for that.
Okay, I will make it comply with the, are you talking about this chunk right here?
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll make that.
so it's, yes, just your choice. Which one do you want to do?
We'll not go to the ZBA. I sit on the ZBA and I would like to not.
Okay, so,
Like to
so,
avoid
okay, so you're gonna bring that back into compliance.
that. And so, just so that I'm clear,
It's 198-14, that says that driveways shall not exceed 18 feet in width.
and, okay.
We don't have the review by the code enforcement officer yet, so this is sort of preliminary.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. So this width should just be 18 feet.
Yeah,
But that's no problem. I mean, this is really just so that I don't keep driving on my grass when I just put some stone down and don't drive on my grass.
understand.
Okay.
So that'll get that back into compliance. We've eliminated that. So really the next step is we're gonna get a zoning code review, which we have asked Corey for, and so he will get that. So then we're going to declare this as a type 2 under seeker. We're going to refer it to the county.
I need to refer this one to the county.
We don't? Okay.
This is delineating.
We need to set a public hearing on this too. Hmm? Yeah.
Is the width.
I mean, that's kind of adds a lot of public hearings for July 5th, but they tend to go reasonably quickly.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be getting too many comments on this one.
Yeah,
We're
we're good friends with all our neighbors, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all that matters.
Could we do it for the next meeting?
Yeah. Okay, so need a motion to declare this as a type 2 action under secret. Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna set this public hearing for, again, July 5th,
We were just asking, could we do June 20th?
20th, June 20th? Can you get everything together with her for June 20th?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Can you see her tomorrow again?
Where to get big pink paper printed? Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna set the public hearing then for July, for June 20. So a motion to set the public hearing for June 20th. Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. So public hearing is now set for June 20. So there we go. Got two of those done. I'm gonna bring that back into compliance, make sure Corey's aware of it, get the zoning code review, work with her on getting information out to your neighbors for the public hearing, and there you are.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
so next on our agenda. All right, PB 2314. 5, 13, 17 Cooper Street and 22 Montague Avenue.
Crystal, right?
Yes.
I was told,
That deals with the Bach Acres.
Yeah, I work there. I'm Morgan Decker. I work Menbach and Eggers. I'm survey field guy, office guy, all that good
Okay.
stuff. So.
So tell us a little bit about what's going on with this.
So there's basically a lot, kind of in the middle of, Bonacue, Cooper and Pine kind of make the circle. There's a lot in the middle. And they're just gonna kind of split it up for kind of buffer areas for each lot. Kind of, that's about it. There's this one, this is the one lot in the middle and kind of little bits are going to everybody else to kind of make some more space. I have no knowledge about any fences or anything else. As far as I know, I think it's just kind of, you know, have the space and know that nobody is gonna throw a house in there.
For a while, there was a small deer family that were living there.
Oh, yeah. Well, this might help their chances.
So, what's the largest a lot can be in that area?
Maybe. I don't have any information about that.
They can't, own more than one lot.
My understanding, we looked at all the background on that, it was a minimum lot size.
Yeah.
On the deed for. For green.
It's not in the zoning, but there could be private covenants affecting it that we don't have.
Right. Okay.
I'm referring to those. Yeah. Not there.
All right.
Thank you.
So, then what our next steps are is we need to just get a zoning code review. And once we get that, if you can get the information, not just a sketch drawing, but get us the more formal drawings.
Okay.
So that we can look at it and get that to Autumn. She'll get it placed in the file. That way we can access it and be able to look at that lot line revision, converting the 4 lots into 3.
Okay, so like a preliminary plan then instead of a sketch?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
You may want to check the private covenants.
Private covenants.
That-
Just
Yeah.
for maximum loss.
Yeah, for that subdivision.
Okay.
David can refer you.
We lived in the 70s.
Okay, so that's really about all that we can do right now. So
Okay.
just get that information,
All
check
right.
that other
Yeah, make
Peace
sure
out.
that there's, okay,
and then make sure there's no restrictions on that, and then get us the drawings, and we'll get the zoning code review, and away we'll go.
okay. I was told to bring these papers and I don't know who they're. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. All set then?
We are.
All right, thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Are you related to Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah. Son. Oh, cool. Bet him on projects before.
Ah, nice.
We're the ones who locate the trees for him. Cool. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Okay, so that takes us through, so some more, and then, so, the next is 22, PB 2218, 6810 Cooper Street. Come on up, David. And let us know what's going on.
I don't think there's much left, really. You guys have that. You have the memo I sent in a little while, a couple weeks ago, right? I can kind of walk you through that. if you
Walk us
want.
through it.
Yeah. So, so we had a couple, site plan revision some time ago now to, kind of, help the neighbors a little bit on the north end. We basically moved, the most consequential thing is we moved the far north, building as far south as we could, basically right to the edge of the side yard setback.
Mm-hmm.
And this was to buy more space from the northern neighbors and from
Carol over here in an attempt to do what we could to preserve, as many of the trees in that corner as we can. And so, and just more of a buffer from the northern house. Okay, and then we made some changes to the structure itself, including because of the location of the slider, which was kind of stupidly placed right in the middle of the living room. We realized that wasn't a good idea, and we shifted it over. And by doing that, we had to closer to the kitchen. We had to extend the deck a few feet. So these decks are just a little bit longer. They're no wider. They're just longer. And then I think, and then we just made the rear, as a consequence of that, just for cost reasons, we've made this little small rear bedroom optional for, prospective buyers, basically. But anyway, I don't think any of these things, they certainly don't affect the stormwater plans or anything like that. It was just, minor changes to the site. Okay, that was one. We then did some work, and thank you, Emily, for looking into both those issues about establishing a condominium and the covenants and restrictions. And as she shared with us, there are no issues with either of those.
Just to clarify, as far as establishing the condominium, I determined that there wasn't any obstacle to doing that in the village code, but I think you should let the board know if that's your plan. In terms of maintenance and other things that, the board might be interested in knowing. So
yeah, absolutely. It's the only option we have is a condominium. So we are definitely establishing that. We started that process with the state to do that.
And as
it will have
the covenants, just to be perfectly clear, I didn't say there weren't any. I said that there was nothing that affected the village's review. So
okay,
yeah.
Sure.
This would be like a homeowners association for the condominium.
Yeah, I mean, it's strictly speaking, it's a condominium association, and yeah, and that means that because we can't subdivide. In a perfect world, we would subdivide these right down the middle, and then the owners would have provenance. That's right. That's right.
I see. And is it going to be run by an outside agency, or are the homeowners themselves going to be in control of it?
I think it's a little bit of both. We're working through that there's incredible amount of, sort of legal constructs around these things. It takes a year to establish, and it's like a 400-page document that goes through all of this stuff, right? Because as you can imagine, you have to do this well, or else you create all sorts of problems among the. But anyway, the as I understand it, sorry, what was your question again? Well,
Whether the condominium association was going to be run by the owners themselves, or whether it was going to be run by an outside.
yeah, I mean,
agency.
they'll have it's set up so that the governance is provided by the members, but there's a whole sort of, I'm not an expert in this. I'm just giving you my limited understanding from starting this process with the attorneys that put these things together. You have to there's a kind of a rolling process where initially you have to establish it, because on day one, you don't have all the members constituted. So it has to be an external member. The board has to be constituted by different folks, including people who are not homeowners, right? And then over time, the homeowners take over aspects of that. And so it's a pretty complex process.
Is there any role that this board has in the operating plan for that?
So the interesting thing in this case is that it's still going to be 3 separate lots with from a site plan perspective, 3 duplexes on it. So in the future, if the condo were to be dissolved, I think it could still be, 3 separate duplexes. So I don't see anything that this board, because it's not sharing infrastructure or anything like that. I don't think we need to get involved in that. But if you see it differently,
No, I don't, I'm
Yeah.
asking entirely, or is anything in the resolution need to give consideration for that?
Well, the only thing I thought about was the maintenance of the swale, but you should satisfy yourself that that's taken care of. So, whether that's a condition on, you know, something that's placed on the utility and grading plan, or a condition, or if you want to see that reflected in the condo documents, or.
So as a condition of approval, we could ask that the grass swale be maintained in perpetuity by members of the condo association to the satisfaction of DPW.
I think if I would put it as a note on the grading and utility plan.
Okay,
And that way, if it's not maintained in the future, you go back to that and enforce it.
okay,
The building inspector could.
Can I speak to this, Will?
sure.
I think this turn took like a weird turn. I went back to the engineer and I put this in the memo. That this swale is literally, if you're standing there, you're not even gonna see it. We're talking about the slightest change in grade that simply directs water in a direction. The lot is full of swales. Every basically up to the to all of the buildings, those are swales. They're simply intentionally designed, changes in elevation to direct water where it needs to go. So these are swales, swales everywhere, intentionally. And I don't know why this one sort of, I think the term swale triggered thoughts that are more than what's intended here. And that's what our engineer was trying to explain. I mean, this is going to be a grass lawn. It's going to be mowed. It's going to be managed by a condominium association. But if you want to put that on the grading utility plan, sure. But I just think it's not necessary.
I think it became an area of focus also because it was discussed as critical to some of the concerns that the neighbors had about runoff and increasing runoff and all that. So, but all we need to do is address it as simply as it needs to be addressed, I think, in the plan.
Sure.
As a note in the plan.
Okay. Anything else we need to discuss on that? So what I would like to do then is I'd like to get a motion authorizing the drafting of the resolution to approve this application with the condition of approval that the swale will be maintained, it's in perpetuity, placed on the
Grading and utility plan.
thank you. Okay. Need a motion?
So motions.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
So David, after a long bit of work, looks like we'll have the resolution for approval at our next meeting.
Okay. And so do I need to come back to the next meeting? Or can you? Oh, we have to approve it when it's drafted. Is that okay? Okay.
All right,
All right.
very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
That leads us to the last bit of business, and I need a motion. Do we have any other business we need to discuss? Anything else? What do you think, Autumn? You got something in your mind?
This isn't quite finished, a fee schedule, which we need to sort of hammer out with the village board for the next meeting.
Okay.
Print what I have for you to review now, a comparison, if you have time to do that, it'll just take me a second. Is that all right?
I have something to bring up quickly, so.
Okay,
maybe-
so why don't you go ahead, and while you're doing that, we will have Emily speak to us.
I just wanted to bring up the seeker review for
Yes.
145 North Chestnut. So they thought that the date was going to be the 20th, and so they were concerned they couldn't make it tonight, and that's why they asked us to postpone. But they also asked about providing the board with a draft part 2, part 3, more documents that would help you with your seeker review. And I said I would ask the board what it wants. To me, they can give you what they want to give you, but to me, the part 2 is for you to go through. And then if there are more, if there's more explanation or documents needed, they could provide those in support of whatever declaration you make.
Okay.
And just to be clear, like the part two is this.
Yes.
This book with all the sections and the different appendices and.
No,
No, okay.
part two is,
This was part one, right?
yeah, part two is the
Got it.
form that we're gonna go through to say, is there an impact on land? Is there an
Right,
impact on
okay.
geological features? And if you guys wanted to sort of split this up and take, I think that you might have mentioned that the
Yeah.
last time.
Yeah,
Take sections that you're prepared to discuss with the rest of the board, that might be an efficient way to handle it.
Okay.
There are 18 sections. And the setup is, the first question is, will this have an impact on land? And most of the time the answer is yes, but like for some of these, the answer may just be no, and then you don't have to do that section.
And they wrote a memo that lines up against the sections.
Right,
That is their argument.
their take,
And
yeah.
then, so it's helpful to read that, but I find it helpful to not read that as well,
Yeah.
and determine your own.
Yeah, I think we need to definitely determine our own stance and our own opinions on it. So here's what we can do. Do we all have copies of the of that document?
Yeah, you can just Google.
You can use that, the EAF part one,
Mhm.
to help you
Yeah,
answer this, yeah.
right, that's what I was imagining. But. Yeah, so I like the idea of. Assigning certain sections for each of us to focus on. How should we divide those up?
Well, you could divide them among the people that aren't here.
Yeah,
You can really slam that, yeah,
there we go.
not at the meeting, buddy, yeah.
Landscaping and the outdoors, the shared outdoor spaces for the building.
Well, what,
I mean, I don't
Well,
know.
this is like. Seeker.
well, I have an idea,
What?
and would you, Zach, be willing to delegate out to everyone what, or to take that under your wing and communicate which parts, asking people which parts they want to
Okay.
via email, and we can either agree or say, no, I really don't want to. And that way, it could be divided up accordingly.
Sure, yeah, and so we should divide it up between the 5 members as well as the alternates, or just stick with the 5 members?
And I'd go with the 5 plus the alternates, otherwise we just might get really bogged down.
Okay. Yeah, so that would be 7 people, there are 18 sections.
So 2 to 3 apiece.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I think even having some overlap, like if we each did 4, that would probably be okay.
okay,
But I can create just like a shared spreadsheet where we can all,
good.
assign or see our names next to which sections that we're gonna be on,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that would be great.
and, yeah, no problem.
So when do you feel like we should have that done so that we can be prepared for our next meeting?
I will try to do that as soon as possible, so, tomorrow or
All right,
Thursday at the latest.
okay. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, sounds great. And the applicant's expecting to give you some more traffic material.
Okay,
Did we say we were gonna begin on the 20th or the July 5th meeting?
So
20th,
Okay.
we'll begin it. We
Yep.
don't have to finish it.
Nope.
We can go through parts 1, 2, and 3, and then the next week we can go through the next set and on. We can do.
Okay. And the completed EAF that's bound, the part 1 that's bound that Zach is flashing.
Yes.
Do we all have that version?
I did not have them make them for everybody because I did not know what they were submitting at that time. I can have them print full copies if you want, and have them delivered to you for next week.
Why don't you have them, have the full copies printed, delivered next week. Everyone's gonna have to come by here then and pick up a copy.
That's old school. We used to always do that.
Yeah, I remember that. It was-
People I had to call them off because I couldn't communicate with them about what was required, so anyway, we'll fix that.
Okay, so you'll give us what we want, how to divide it up,
Yeah.
and then Autumn will have, copies by when? You believe?
For 145,
Yeah,
so we should have those next Tuesday.
okay. Okay, so prepare that next Wednesday you need to drop by and pick up, copies.
And I'll ask them to submit her copy for that date too.
Okay, and now what else do you have here for us?
So, sorry, I didn't print out the full fee schedule, but, every year the village board revise their fee schedules and, you might have noticed that there have been, there's a lot of accounting to do with these applications because, we have so many consultants review, but, so this is simply a recommendation because right now this is our existing fee schedule. If you would like to look at the existing fee schedule, it will give you a headache. What we need is, and essentially what this memo says is, when the applications come in the door, we need to collect a fee. Right now, based on what this fee schedule looks like, we need the building inspector to go measure square footage and see how many bedrooms there are, et cetera, to make a determination about the fee. That's nuts. We can't do that anymore. So what we've done is streamlined the fee schedule into this little dinky thing here to kind of make it more clear to anybody who looks at this exactly what's required. And so if the board is in agreement with this, then I would send this to, you would make the recommendation for me to put this to the village board for the June 14th meeting so that the revisions can be approved and added into the fee schedule.
I don't see, based upon what you and I discussed earlier, I don't see anything wrong with this. I think that this is great. I mean, commercial construction, graded by total number of square feet. Accessory structures, change of use, no exterior. Special use permit, $500.
So what is the difference between a special use permit and a change of use?
So a change of use, well, Emily, maybe could you take that?
$100.
Difference between a change of use and a special use. A special use is something not necessarily. Sorry, you do it.
No, well, I'm just not sure what you require for a change of use. Does it come to the planning board just for any change of use?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, it could be a change to a permitted use where you're just doing a site plan approval as opposed to a special use permit.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is
The
got more
special use
criteria.
permits have more criteria. They require narrative,
Yes.
but change of use, don't they also require a
Is there,
narrative?
I don't know, in front of me, but is special use, is site plan approval?
These are all site plan.
Yeah.
approvals.
Yeah.
Site plan approval is a change of use. So like if you went from a bookstore to a cafe.
To another permitted use.
Right.
Right, you would have to do
Yeah.
a change of use,
Right.
but
Right.
if you wanted to build a cafe in a place where a cafe is a special use required,
Yes.
then it would be a special use permit, which
Okay.
Separate.
costs you an extra
Okay.
$5.
Small
Yeah.
So like you said, $100.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's crazy there. Code requires them to come before the planning board for a change of use at all, but
Yeah,
I guess here we are.
here we are.
You're on the wrong board to
Yeah.
make that decision, Zach.
Yeah.
From having like 99 hair salons in the same block or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty.
Can we just flat?
I say that.
No, there are too many, sorry.
That's right, I can't do that.
I think this streamlined
Mhm.
version is something that I don't see how it compares in terms of whether it's a rate increase overall, but that's not our decision anyway. I find that to be simplified and helpful.
So,
No, if anything, in factoring in inflation, it's a decrease.
so what we'll need to do then is we want to ask for a motion to state that we, for how do we want to do this? Because we want to recommend to the village board that they accept the fee schedule as stated in the
Proposed by.
in date,
Oh,
yeah,
it's the top.
I think that's the motion.
as stated, yeah. On the memo regarding the fee schedule for 2023, 2024. There you go. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There we go. Got that. All right, I think that's it for tonight. So I do need a motion to adjourn, please.